everyone, and welcome to the October Blazie Technologies webinar. I'm Stephen Blazie, and we're really excited everyone could join us this evening. We'll be showcasing yet another update to BT Speak, available to all users. And I'm joined tonight by David Goldfield and Tim Noonan, who will be demonstrating at least one of those features tonight. And as always, we're here to address your questions and look forward to a lively Q&A. Before we get started tonight, I wanted to make a brief announcement about BT Braille, and that's that BT Braille development remains underway, on track as of today for an October release as planned. We do have just a few more early adopter positions available for those who want to take part in helping us shape the device early. So if you're interested in joining the program, please give us a call. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to David Goldfield to introduce the October update.
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks everyone for joining. Hi, everyone, it's David, and as Stephen said, we do have a new update that we just released a little over 24 hours ago, last night at about 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, we never sleep around here, so we have this update. It includes a lot of improvements. We've done some bug fixes for Google Calendar and Google Drive. There have been some reports of occasional garbage characters being pasted with grade 2 text. It was very hard to duplicate because not everybody encountered it, but we think that we have corrected that. Two of the things that we have added are things that we're going to briefly show you tonight, and then we'll take your questions. One of them is, and once I'm done my demo, we'll turn this over to Tim Noonan, who will talk about our extended and enhanced QWERTY keyboard support for the BT Speak, particularly in Blazie mode. You always had it in desktop mode, but at times it was a bit limited, and we added some support for it in a previous update, but we've really expanded it, and it's much more robust. I think you'll agree with me when you hear what Tim will show you. So one of the things I'm going to quickly demo for you is a new email feature. So BT Speak has always had email with the Mozilla Thunderbird program. That's, of course, still there. You can use it the way you always have used it if that's something that you like. But one thing that you can now do is start the email composition process in the Blazie Mode editor. So what I have here is a file that I have named email.brl. I'm going to go in that file now.
Do you really want to stop desktop mode? Default email.brl 8 of 15.
There we go. Let's go into that.
Email.brl file 2 of 3.
Now, the .brl is pretty significant here because it is a grade 2 file. It is using the old English US English Braille code, or what some of us know as English Braille American Edition. So it has all of the standard contractions, the .6 for capitals, all of the grade 2 punctuation that most of us grew up with. I'm actually in the email file, so I'm gonna go to the top of that file, and we'll see what we have in this file.
Hello, this is David, writing an email to myself which I will eventually send. I am writing this message using all of the standard grade 2 Braille contractions and punctuation. If all goes well, this file will be received in my email and it will be properly translated. Blank.
There's a blank line.
Have a great day. Blank. David.
Okay, all of that is in grade 2 Braille in my file that I wrote in the regular editor. So now I'm going to go into the file browser with OCHord F.
Options menu. Email.brl 8 of 15.
And I have 15 files, and I'm pointing to the one that I want to send, which is email.brl. .brl. In order to tell the BT Speak that I want this file sent as an email, I'm going to press the letter E. And it's going to bring up the Blazie email composition mode that we introduced a few updates ago. So I'll press E.
Send to.
And it says send to. And I want to send this to myself.
27 characters pasted.
And I just pasted the email address. I kind of cheated on that. And we'll press enter for the next field. CC, which is carbon copy. So I could send this to someone else, but I'm going to skip that and just press enter. BCC is blind carbon copy. No, that's not sending a copy to a blind person. That would be sending a copy and having that address hidden, but I'm not going to do that. We'll press enter. That should take us to the subject field.
Subject.
And I'm just going to call it test. We'll press enter.
Include an attachment. Default is no.
It wants to know if I want to include an additional attachment. In this case, I don't. So I'm going to press enter for no. And then what should happen is it should go into the desktop mode and load Thunderbird and put me in the email composition window.
Desktop mode.
So I pressed enter. Doing a little bit of good vibrations.
Test Thunderbird frame. Message body editable content. Hello, this is David, writing an email to myself which I will eventually send. I am writing this message using all of focus mode.
Okay, now
file email.brl email.
Okay, so it started reading the email, so it hasn't sent it yet. I can review this message, but what's really cool, and this is why I wanted to write a grade 2 file, is that this is now properly translated. So I'm going to go to the top of this message window and
the standard grade 2 Braille. Hello, this is David, writing an email to myself which I will eventually send. I am writing this message using all of.
And this is not grade 2 now. This is the translated file in regular text, or what you might call computer Braille.
The standard grade 2 Braille contractions and punctuation.
Just to prove
all
that.
Goes well, the standard.
So I'm on the word standard, and instead of the .34 for the ST sign and the AND sign, we've got
capital F, capital G, R.
Oh, it put me on the wrong. Let's go to
T.
There we go.
File. The standard. Capital F. Grade. 2. Braille.
There we go.
C. O. N. T. R. A.
So there's the word contractions, and it is uncontracted.
C. T. I. O.
No grade 2 at all. I'm going to press Control Enter by pressing X chord and the Enter key, or .8.
Sending message test frame.
Send it.
Cancel push button.
Okay.
Desktop. Icon view.
And it went back to the desktop, but that message has been sent. So now if I open Thunderbird on the BT Speak or Thunderbird on my Windows machine, or for that matter, it doesn't really matter. I could open Outlook on my Windows machine. I will see this email fully translated. There's no indication whatsoever that this email was originally written on a BT Speak on a Braille keyboard using contracted Braille. So it's just another nice way of being able to write an email, to compose an email. If you want, you can use computer Braille, but you are free to use contracted Braille. And the translation, of course, will depend on your Braille table, whether you're using US English, which I was tonight, or UEB, or any of the other Braille tables that we've got. So that is one of the features that we added in the October update. All you have to do to make that magic happen is to go into the Thunderbird program on your BT Speak in desktop mode and set it up with your email address and your email username and password. Once you have that done, this feature will work where you can send an email in Blazie mode. So that's one of the features that you can look forward to using in the October BT Speak update. And Tim, if you're ready, I will turn it over to you and you can talk to us about QWERTY keyboard support on the BT Speak in Blazie mode.
Thanks, David. So we have added a QWERTY keyboard set of commands now to Blazie mode so that people who are using a QWERTY keyboard, whether it's connected via USB or via Bluetooth, who might be using that in the desktop mode for all of the benefits that QWERTY gives you there with all of the modifier keys, etc. We've now added QWERTY equivalents for many of the common chords used in Blazie mode. Now, if you've ever looked at the documentation, the help file for the BT Speak editor, you will know that in there the keyboard equivalents of all of the editor commands have always been listed. They're not always completely intuitive, but they're all there and documented. We haven't duplicated those, so to use specific features in the editor, you would refer to the editor help file. But for more general use, we've provided a whole range of commands. Last month, we just added some function keys for the key menus like options menu, edit menu, and so forth. But now we're adopting the same convention that JAWS, NVDA, and VoiceOver use, and we're adopting the caps lock key as a modifier. Now, all of these commands are documented in the QWERTY help file, and I've got that open now, so I'll just walk you through that to give you a bit of a feel.
Topic file. Heading level 1 QWERTY keyboard equivalents to Blazie chord commands.
Now we're using headings as well, so you can move through by headings to jump to the relevant section.
Heading level, all the following Blazie chord equivalent commands used. Note, you can only access these commands from within Blazie mode, as the caps lock key is used extensively by the Orca screen.
Caps lock and M to mute the speech, so you can now mute speech using the QWERTY keyboard. So I've got some information here on that this is only available in Blazie mode because Orca uses the keyboard extensively and the caps lock key behind the scenes for its operations. Let's just go through and look at some of the category headings.
H2 command assignments. H3 global commands.
So global commands, in here we've got, and I'm pressing the down arrow on my keyboard now.
Blank. Bullet context help, caps lock plus H.
Context help, that's the normal H chord equivalent. So mostly we've tried to do similar commands to what you're familiar with.
Bullet where am I, caps lock plus W. Bullet battery, caps lock plus B.
So I'll just show you that.
100%. Bullet say date, caps lock plus 8.
Now we didn't have D available because we're using it elsewhere, so 8 as in rhyming with date.
Bullet say time, caps lock plus T and caps lock plus F12.
And we've provided both the JAWS and our own
10:17 a.m.
approach for time.
Bullet stopwatch status, caps lock plus 3 and caps lock plus number sign.
So if you do the number sign with the shift key or 3, that will work as well.
Bullet desktop mode, caps lock plus K.
Now you can go to desktop mode, but you do need to use the BT Speak to return back to Blazie mode for the reasons I've already explained. If down the track we can determine that that won't be a conflict, we may be able to make that available on the desktop side so you can come back. But at the moment, none of these keys work in desktop mode to avoid conflicts.
Bullet Blazie mode, caps lock plus, bullet mute speed, bullet mute speed.
Now the other time
caps
you'd
lock
use
plus M.
the other time you would use, I tried hitting the control key to stop the speech then, and unfortunately we can't map that. You do need to do caps lock and M. But the reason Blazie mode is here is if you are in Blazie mode and you press the Blazie mode key combination, that will give you the opportunity to stop desktop mode. So that's why that is there. So let's go to the next heading category.
H3 from in the editor.
So from in the editor,
Blank. Bullet options menu. Caps,
Options
bullet
menu
editor menu.
with O.
Caps lock plus E.
editor menu, caps lock plus E. So you're getting the picture that this is pretty
Bullet delete menu. Caps lock plus D.
what you'd expect.
Bullet navigation menu. Bullet say below. Read to end. Caps lock plus it and caps lock plus arrow down.
So to read to the end of the file, ER chord, we can do caps lock plus A and caps lock with down arrow. So again, trying to make that familiar with what you may be familiar with.
Bullet word left, control plus arrow left.
Now these are things that should have been there, but because the BT Speak editor is Linux, it doesn't follow all of the standard conventions. So we've now got control left arrow and control right arrow will move you by word and speak the word, and control up arrow and control down arrow will move you by, well, essentially by paragraphs, which is a blank line, the text following a blank line. So if you've got blank lines in your text, you can skip between those blocks. Now, I won't take too much more time, so let me just quickly jump down to another category.
H3 sound and media control.
Sound and media. So this is quite nice, but as I say, unfortunately, you can't do these from within desktop mode.
Blank. Bullet master volume down, caps lock plus minus.
Now, this is pretty much the same as what VoiceOver provides.
Bullet master volume up, caps lock plus equals. Bullet media softer, caps lock plus left bracket. Bullet media louder, caps lock plus right bracket.
And you'll see these are a vertical stack that as you're moving down the right-hand side of the keyboard, that's media volume, which is separate to our master volume.
Bullet media pause slash play, caps lock plus space.
And if I were to push caps lock plus space now, we get a beep because nothing's playing. But if I had some music or a podcast queued, I can stop it and start it with caps lock and space.
Bullet previous track, caps lock plus semicolon.
And again, down to the next level on the right-hand side of the keyboard.
Bullet next track, bullet restart track, caps lock plus R. Blank. Z chord to exit.
And that's the end of the list. So that gives you a good overview of all those keyboard features. One little gotcha that you do need to be a bit careful of. If you're using the Mac or JAWS, when you tap the caps lock key, it will normally tell you its status, and you double tap often to shift it from uppercase to lowercase. That doesn't happen in Linux in the same way. So there is a chance when you're doing this that you will pop yourself into caps lock mode without realizing it. In the editor, you'll know straight away because all caps words are spelled out. So if you notice that, just tap the caps lock key and you will be back to the correct case. So that's pretty much a rundown of how it all works, and I'll hand back to David.
Thanks so much, Tim. That was great. So as you can see, there's a lot of really nice things that we've added in this update, and this update is free for all BT Speak users. So if you haven't already downloaded it, we know that a lot of people have, but if you haven't already grabbed it, you can just press O chord for the options menu, M for the BT Speak management menu, and then U to check for updates if all goes well. And if you're connected to Wi-Fi, your BT Speak should say there's a new update available. Do you want to install it? Just press Y for yes. The update will download, and with the new verbiage that we've introduced, it's much more, it's much friendlier in that you'll hear, okay, 25% downloaded, 60% downloaded. Now we're installing the update. So you really have a better idea of what's going on. And not only that, but it should be a much faster process than some of the previous updates that you may be used to. Your BT Speak will restart and you're good to go. You can read the release notes. We have them on the device as we usually do. If you go to Options, Help, and Guides and Tutorials, you will see the release notes in English, and I think we have them in at least one other language. I think we have them in Spanish, if my memory is correct on that. And they're also available on our website.
I don't think we have the current version in any other languages, David.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
Not the current version, no.
Thank you for telling me that. So at least we have the English version, and hopefully we'll eventually get all of that localized. They're also available on our website. If you go to Blazie Tech, BLAZIETECH.com, you can download those release notes as well as the manual. Now, this new update, unfortunately, a few of the things in the update have not made it into the manual, so the manual is once again a little bit out of date, but it's much better than it ever has been. And I'll eventually be adding what we have in the October release into the manual. It's one of the things I want to do hopefully in the next month or so. So I think that's it for me. It sounds like we have possibly some hands raised. So, Stephen, I can send it back to you. If there are hands raised, you can feel free to take them, and one of us can answer them. We hear
Yes,
you.
we have James.
Hey everybody, I want to know, what if I was to use caps lock K to enter desktop mode? Oh, first of all, I love the keyboard commands. Yeah, it's so great. And intuitive once I realized that if I hold caps lock down and let go of the key and caps lock at the same time, I'm in business. But if I let go of caps lock even once, like you said, it toggles the state. So just don't even test caps lock by just pressing it. Like if you get used to that in JAWS or NVDA, like me, don't do that because you won't know where you are. You'll have to type a letter and delete it to see whether it's capitalized or not. Just press the caps lock down and then press the letter you want down and then let go of both of them and it'll be fine. Somebody saying something? Oh, my thing was, what if you use caps lock K to get into desktop mode and Control Alt F1 to get into Blazie mode?
So,
Oh, there we go.
so James, are you saying that there is a way on the desktop mode to go back to Blazie mode already? Like at the moment, what we do to go back to Blazie mode is on the Braille keyboard, as you know, all dots other than dot 8. Are you saying there's a way to do that otherwise?
Yeah, Control Alt F1 for TTY1.
Oh, for
Oh, TTY1. So
TTY1.
yes, no, you're totally right. Yes, that
This always works for
okay.
me.
So let me just step back a bit. So basically, this is in people who know Linux know that there are virtual terminals that you can switch between that can run different programs or processes, shells, etc. And TTY7 is the desktop, and TTY1 is the Blazie mode. But Blazie mode also utilizes some of the other TTYs in the background. And if you're not technical, don't even worry about this. But if you are, it's important to know this. What happens is when we use the inbuilt commands to switch to desktop mode and to switch back to Blazie mode, so the chord commands, a script is run that tells the system where it is and what's happening. If you use the Control Alt and numbers, that script doesn't get run, and the system may be in a state where it doesn't realize it's in the correct mode. And we had a couple of people using Control Alt 2 and going into a shell and finding out that things weren't working. That's because that script doesn't run, and there's not much we can do about it because it's at an operating system level when those scripts run. So very detailed answer, but the short answer is try it and see how you go, but it could cause problems, James.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I ran into problems with that, but not with Control Alt F1. But good to know that there is a possibility for problems to happen.
Yeah, look, if it works, it may well just work when you're going back, but I don't know for sure. And certainly going to other modes like 2 and 3 and doing things does present issues, and you have to write some scripts in your startup bash RC or whatever. So thanks for the question, James.
Thank you, James. We're going to go to Elijah. Hello, Elijah.
Okay. I was gonna say the Control F1 thing, but you already said that. But what did you say about the BT Braille? Like there's gonna be like a progress update or something like that? Like what was that update?
Well, the announcement about BT Braille is just that we're on track for an October release as of today, and we have a few more spots for early adopters. And so those who are interested, give us a call, and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Okay. And then I know for the early adopter, you still it's like $1,000 at first, and then the rest of the money when it ships. But do you actually save any money in total, or is it just like you don't have to pay it all now, you pay it later?
Well, the advantage of being part of the early adopter program is that you're really someone who gets to influence the early stages of the product release and development, developing the software and giving input where it counts. And so you're
Okay.
really somewhat of a beta tester as much as a user, but you get to shape the product into what you want it to be. Do you have anything to add to that, David?
No, I think that's absolutely right. Elijah, you asked about the payment options. So how much you pay um, would depend on whether an early adopter is interested in purchasing the BT Braille 20 cell or 40 cell model. I think with the 40 cell, it's 3,000 down and then 3,000 and then the rest of the total, the rest of the balance when the product ships. And Stephen, I believe it's 2,000 down for the BT Braille 20. Is that
That's correct.
correct? Yeah, and then the balance when we ship that particular product. So that's the way it's working for early adopters. Once the early adopter program ends, then it will be sold like any other product, and you'd have to pay the entire balance in order to order the product, just as you do now with the BT Speak.
And you're going to have somewhat of a super warranty with this BT Braille as an early adopter. We're going to roll out the red carpet for you and take care of your every need because we're aware that there might be some software problems to solve early on, and so it can convey some advantages that way.
Mhm.
Okay, it looks like there's no more questions now. We have one more from Michael. Hello, Michael.
Mhm.
Switching gears here. Hope that's all right.
Oh, sure.
Okay. My question is about the radio tuner. We kind of touched on it in the list a while back, but I looked today and Radio Browser is still not accepting new stations. It's been almost 4 months. He does say for now, which does lead me to think that maybe someday he will accept them again. I'm wondering if, I don't know, you guys probably don't know any more about that aspect of it than we do because that's a third
Yeah.
party uh, application. But has there been any thought about uh, making it so we can add stations ourselves or going with a different provider or just wondering what the thought is on that?
Well, that's an interesting idea. I personally don't know anything more about it. I do know that the reason why, and just to give people some context, so the BT Speak and the BT Braille uh, will have, and the BT Speak does have, a radio tuner with around over 50,000 stations. And Michael, as you correctly said a few months ago, that the database for that tuner, which is not ours, it's, as you say, it's a third-party database that we're leveraging. They decided that temporarily they wanted to stop people from adding stations. Unfortunately, the reason why he made that decision, which was made very clear on their website, is because people were adding illegal streams. I'm not in any way suggesting that this was done by BT Speak users. In fact, I doubt that it was. But whoever it was, there were enough of them added that the owner of that database, which is radiobrowser.info, obviously didn't want to face legal challenges. So his solution is to temporarily stop people from adding new streams into the radio database. All of the streams that are in there appear to work,
Mhm.
but so none of them have been removed that I'm aware of, except probably for any streams with illegal content. Um, so there's nothing we can do about that. Do we want to switch to a new provider? I don't think so, because A, this is probably just going to be a temporary issue until the owner of the database figures out a better way of screening this so that people can add their own streams again. So I don't want to see us leave that provider. Now, can we look at either another provider or allow users to add their own custom streams? Of course, if we did that, that would only be in their unit. It wouldn't go into the database. That being said, it's I'm not trying to dodge the question. I just hadn't considered it. Although I think actually you did bring that up on the list, asking, or someone did. So I
Yeah, I
don't
did.
know. It's something that perhaps we could revisit if there is enough demand. And the other thing is we need to make sure that there's enough resources to dedicate to that kind of project. Obviously, our top priority now is making sure that the BT Braille is as stable as we can, and we don't want to pull resources away from that to
Sure.
something like adding stations. But uh, it's not probably beyond the realm of possibility. So, uh, Tim or Steve Clower, I don't know if you have any other comments about that, but I suppose it's possible down the line that we could allow users to set up their own custom streams on their local devices. And I think there will come a time soon when the owner of that database will allow people to add their own stations. Unfortunately, this is the consequence of people misusing that privilege and adding things that they shouldn't have added.
Hmm. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think David. Yeah, the it's certainly not on the short list of, well, the long short list of things that people want and need for the BT Speak. Certainly this calendar year. I mean, maybe yeah, a user will have a look at some of the options, and if we can simplify that process, then yes. But yeah, not happening in the next little while with our other priorities, unfortunately.
Yep, and I was actually thinking the same thing. If we've got some really talented, clever users who might want to tackle that and find a way of implementing some code to allow that, well, that's certainly something we would look at.
All right, thank you, Michael. We're going to go to Jim.
Hi, comment
Jim.
and a question.
Mhm.
It's interesting. I was thinking the other day, I remember back using the Braille and Speak and how you had to wait a year for the next update to come out. And now they're coming out, pretty much once a month. And my question is there going to be anything on the roadmap to improve the Newsline um, program or app, whatever you want to call it, because I know in some articles in newspapers, you'll get the title, you'll go into the article with enter, and it'll say hit Z chord to exit like there's nothing there. It didn't pick up the article, and maybe the article's in a different area in that publication. It may be a Newsline issue, I'm not sure, but I know also in one of the publications I read, you'll get a lot of extraneous characters, and that may be because there's a picture there or what, I'm not sure. And if you'd like to comment on that, I'd appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Next time that happens, I'd appreciate if you'd send us an email to support and let us know which article is giving you those problems, because it could be something that's on our end, or it could be something that's due to how the NFB Newsline service behaves. I do know that they're working out some glitches on their end that has to do with outdated publications in the database, and they told me that it's an ongoing process, but I wouldn't rule out that there's something that we could improve in Newsline as well.
Yeah, if you see that, it would be interesting to compare it either with the phone service and or with the iOS or Android app or even the web app if you have access to those. Because some of that could be just eccentricities in the way that Newsline itself is grabbing that content. But if you find that, for example, oh, the iPhone app is bringing in this article perfectly and we're not, then that's definitely something we would like to know about. That's easily something that we can test. I use the NFB Newsline iPhone app as well, and I've occasionally taken a look at the web app because there is a way to actually access those articles directly on the web, as well as the touch-tone phone service. So it would be interesting to compare those different platforms to see if it's really an issue with Newsline or if it's, maybe something that we could improve.
All right, thank you, Jim. I'm going to go back to Elijah. Hello, Elijah.
So I was wondering, like, if there are any plans to support, like, encrypting the BT speed, like maybe with Lux or something like that, because like both like Android and iOS already have like full device encryption and the Windows has BitLocker and all that. But like the BT speak, so if someone like steals your BT speak, like if they know how they can like hold on and like and like I did figure out a way to require a password to log in when it starts up and unlock it. But that doesn't like solve someone for just like taking the files off it like with USB or something. Like, are you considering like implementing like Lux or some other encryption for the entire device?
Hi, Elijah. Tim here. Look, we certainly have been looking at possibilities on the drawing board, and it's something that we realise that people might like on a file level basis, for example, to be able to encrypt a specific file. There are lots of systems. Because we're working within the nano editor, we need to come up with a system that's compatible with its internals, but also to be pretty direct. We also need to have a system where people don't lose crucial data that can never be recovered again because they've lost a password. So with security, it's always a balance of convenience on one end of the spectrum and ultra high security and privacy on the other. And whatever system we come up with needs to be at that right level to accommodate the diverse range of users. And yes, people could access another blind person, could access your BT Speak through USB, but the rest of the world, quite frankly, wouldn't have a clue what to do with the device. So all those factors, but it's just an issue of so many things that we are looking to do, and it's, again, not at the top of the queue at the moment, but we are aware of the desire for it, and we have been contemplating and sort of doing logic flows for ways it could work. So hopefully we'll have an update at some point down the track on that project.
Okay, and I guess like I could like try it sometime and see if I can get Lux to work. But yeah, like that makes sense.
Yeah, as I say, we haven't actually done anything in terms of coding at this stage. We've just been exploring options on a sort of a theoretical basis, but we haven't come up with something that we think is easy enough to develop quickly with everything else, or that is going to meet enough people's needs. So it's finding that sweet spot. Our priority really isn't just implementing technical features. it's making sure that when we implement the feature, that it's intuitive to use and that it's not going to have all these spin-off problems for tech support and for users.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elijah. We're going to go to Scott.
Right, thanks. I was going to go back to previous discussion on the radio tuners database that's being used. Another reason not to switch away from it is that I'm presuming that any of us, those of us who've added favorites, then those favorites would end up being gone or having to be reconstructed, if you will, if I'm not mistaken.
That's potentially possible, yeah. We don't have any plans to pull away from that
Right.
database. Now, in the future, is it possible we could find and add a second one that does allow for easily adding streams? I mean, that's not beyond the realm of possibility either. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we have any desire or plans or wish to switch away from the radio browser database. I'm I'm sorry that it's not allowing people to add streams, but I do think that that will return. I mean, you could, use their contact form and write to them and express your interest in doing that. And I don't know whether it will really make a difference or not, because again, we have no control over that. But, sometimes a large demand will, let people know that there is interest and would be worth users writing to them directly and just, politely saying, hey, really miss that capability, and do you know when it might be coming back? And you might get an answer. You might get a very direct response.
All right.
All right, thank you, Scott. I think that's all for questions. And so, David or Tim, do you have anything else to add? Otherwise, we'll close it there.
Only a quick point I'd make is that we have been, based on some very large databases of podcast feeds, the podcast app has been improved behind the scenes so that it can handle over 40 different podcast feeds and feeds with very long names. So if you were encountering problems, if you'd loaded an OPML file, which is a list of podcasts or something, and you weren't getting joy, that should work better now.
Yes, I can tell you a lot of work was done to try to troubleshoot and pin those issues down. And I think that if you were someone who was experiencing issues with the podcast app, I agree with Tim, you'll have a much better experience. Obviously, with this new October update, if you do encounter issues with that or with anything, please let us know so we know what the issues are and hopefully can fix them in a timely manner. And I don't really have anything else to say except I just want to thank everybody for their support, their feedback, their questions, their comments. For those who are on our support forum, thank you for all of the contributions. If anybody is not on our support forum, you're free to join that if you'd like. Even if you're not a BT Speak customer, if you just want to lurk and see what people are talking about regarding the BT Speak, feel free. And the address to subscribe is BT Speak, all one word, and then the plus symbol on your keyboard. So it's BT Speak plus subscribe at groups.io. And you're free to join and ask questions, again, even if you're not a customer. That's really it from me.
Okay, well, we'll close it there then. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight. It was a productive discussion, and as always, it was great to have you here. We'll see you at the next one. Good night.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.